Well, that was a good Strangers film. The Strangers Chapter 2 is a brand new horror film directed by Renny Harlin starring Madelaine Petsch and Gabriel Basso. And you know, I am somebody who actually enjoyed The Strangers Chapter 1. There are a lot of people out there that really hated on it. I understand the frustration. I understand the fact that people say that it's just a rehashing of the original. Like, I get that, and when you really look at Chapter 1 versus the original versus the Liv Tyler original, it really doesn't even come close. Like, I love the original so much more, but I had a good time with The Strangers Chapter 1, and I was very excited to see where they were going to go in Chapter 2. I felt like my opinion on Chapter 1 very much hinged on this second installment. You know what I mean? If this is gonna be a trilogy, the second one has to be good, because if the first one was just sort of a rehashing of the original that was pretty good, and then we get to the second one and it's just sort of mediocre, then what are we even doing? Why would we get excited for the third? But I have now seen The Strangers Chapter 2. I watched it last night at its world premiere at Fantastic Fest here in Austin, and my friends, I am happy to report that this movie is actually really good. So what is up, my friends? My name is Danny. Welcome to Jones Vibes. Today we're talking about The Strangers Chapter 2. I do just want to preface off the top and let you know that this is a spoiler-free review, so you don't have to worry about anything like that. Also, be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments. I would love to hear from you, but without further ado, let's dive in. So the synopsis reads, after learning that one of their victims, Maya, is still alive, three masked maniacs return to finish the job. With nowhere to run and no one to trust, Maya soon finds herself in a brutal fight for survival against psychopaths who are more than willing to kill anyone who stands in their way. And that sounds dope, and that's pretty much exactly what happens. Like, this movie picks up right after Chapter 1. So you're going from point A to point B there, and then this one is very much just a progression of what's going on. It's not like there's a massive time jump or anything like that. Maya is just in the hospital. She is trying to process the death of her fiance, Ryan, but she's still in the same freaking town that all of this happened in. And so it's tense from the jump, and it starts immediately. That's what I liked about this movie, because it was different. It was a unique Strangers film. Had we started this movie and it was like a brand new couple and they're in the town and it's gonna somehow mix with the previous story of the first one and it's just all kind of the same, I would have been very disappointed, because that's not what I wanted to see. I wanted to see something unique. And this movie very much is just one long chase sequence. And that might sound super simple, but they do an amazing job at just kind of filling in the gaps. There are some flashbacks with some characters going on. There's a lot of little story threads that they're working in, and you can tell that they're very much building up to a Chapter 3. I think what's different in this movie compared to Chapter 1 is that Maya in the first movie is very much like the Liv Tyler role, where she's just this innocent girl who is scared to death, and by the end of the movie, it's not like she becomes this crazy final girl. She ends up tied up to a chair and she gets freaking stabbed. Like, they think that she's dead, you know what I mean? This movie takes her character to the next level, but in a very freaking realistic way. Like we heard from one of the producers, Courtney Solomon, and we also heard from the director at the Q&A after the film, and they were just talking about like their idea of wanting to do that and how the entire thing, Chapter 1, 2, and 3, were originally meant to just be one movie, but it ended up being just this massive script, and they had to split it up into 3 movies. And I really do enjoy that, because Chapter 2, again, with Maya's character, you're really starting to see the seeds of what she's going to become in the next one, unless there's just some crazy plot twist. But some of the Q&A took place before the film, and they were talking about everything that they put her through as an actress, so I was curious to see, and that's what I'm talking about with this being different from just like the immediate hero in a movie. She has to go through so much in this movie. Props to the actress for somehow getting through all of this stuff. A ton of what happens takes place outside in the woods. There's a lot of running involved, but there's also just some really, really brutal moments that you can't even believe somebody has to act their way through, you know what I mean? But there is one sequence that I will talk about. I'm not going to spoil what type of animal that she runs into, but there's an animal sequence. I'm sure that this is going to be one of the many highlights of the film for a lot of people. At least it's going to be a talking point, whether people liked it or they didn't like it. The animal attack sequence that that takes place was what just changed the game. From that point on, I was so drawn in. I was drawn in by the performance. I was drawn in just by like the sheer, there's a mixture of practicality as well as CGI going on, but just how real everything looked and just how brutal it was. I gained a confidence in this movie that I never gained in chapter 1, and I'm very happy that that happened in the sequel as we head towards another movie, you know what I mean? But it is going to be interesting to see what other people think of it. I have seen some early reactions, and some other people are saying, like, why did we need this movie? And I would kind of push back on that by just saying, hey, there are some people that are truly just fans of this franchise, and I think there's no denying that this is a good movie, and it's a better movie than the first chapter, but also some people are going to the theater just to watch Dollface, Man in the Mask, and Pinup Girl, you know what I mean? Like, if they ever make a new Friday the 13th, you can bet your ass I'm gonna be there, and if they ever make a new Strangers movie, you can bet your ass I'm gonna be there. And what this does for those three characters is something that you just didn't see in the original, or Pray at Night, or in chapter 1. Like, you never really got any sort of a backstory, and I know maybe that's something that people don't want to see, and they just want this mystery shadow figure for all three of them, but personally, it did a lot. Now, I'm not saying that they're revealing identities or anything like that, but you are sort of inching closer to that kind of a thing, and you're getting to know the people that are behind the mask, whether it be in flashbacks or just like little Easter eggs and clues that get you familiar. There are also some new cast members that are added to this. I'm not sure, how many of them are going to be sticking around. A lot of people die in this movie. It's kind of like Halloween Kills, but somebody that does pop up is Gabriel Basso, and I freaking love this actor from The Night Agent. I just think he's a great actor, but then to see him in this franchise and stepping into it in the role that he's playing, I found it really intriguing, really interesting, and I think he's probably going to be back in chapter 3, and so if he is, I'm totally there for it, man. Like, truth be told, one of the qualms that I had with chapter 1 was that the guy that played Ryan, no offense to him, he was very forgettable. Like, in the original, the dude that played the fiance was at least kind of believable, as well as you had like Glenn Howerton showing up in that, you know what I mean? In Strangers chapter 1, you just don't have much to kind of latch onto, and having Gabriel show up in this movie, having this be an actor that we can kind of hope is going to be in the next one, I think that also does wonders for the franchise. But as for this movie as a whole, there's not a lot to talk about. I really just want to give flowers to freaking Madelaine Petsch for her performance in this. This was very much like a Ripley type performance, you know what I mean? I thought she was really great, and I truly thought that this was the most unique Strangers entry that we've had so far, and hey, I'm not gonna complain about that. But as always, I do want to give Strangers Chapter 2 my Jones Vibe star rating. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 stars, and I got no doubt about that. But I hope you guys can get out and go see Strangers Chapter 2 when it comes out. Please let me know your thoughts down in the comments, whether you've seen it, are you excited for it, what do you think is gonna happen next, all of that good stuff. I would love to hear your opinion, but more than anything, my friends, I hope you're out there keeping up the good vibes, and I will see you in the next video, alright? Peace!